Hey Chicago, buckle up. Because what's going down at Hollis Hall might just blow the roof off this city. Ryan Poles is thinking about bringing in the best running back in the NFL according to PFF. But to do that, he might have to cut a guy who gave us over 1,000 yards. Meanwhile, an offensive coordinator turned down the Super Bowl-bound Eagles to stay with USY, and a cornerback nobody had even heard of a year ago is now heading to the Pro Bowl. After leading the league in takeaways, 3 moves, 1 mission, bring a championship to Chicago. If you're not subscribed yet and haven't smashed that like button, you're missing the most explosive off-season breakdown out there. This is just the beginning. Let me be straight with y'all. D'Andre Swift had a solid 2025 season, no one's denying that. 1,087 rushing yards, 9 rushing touchdowns, over 300 receiving yards. Those are good numbers, but here's the question nobody in Chicago wants to ask. Are those numbers worth nearly $7.5 million against the 2026 salary cap? Here's what I'm telling you, when you've got a shot to free up that money and bring in Kenneth Walker to the top-graded running back in the entire NFL, according to Pro Football Focus, with a 90.7 grade, how do you not do it? Are you kidding me? Walker's about to play in the Super Bowl with the Seahawks, and we're talking about a dude who forced 65 missed tackles this season. 65. Swift is good, but Walker is elite. Let me break it down for you. Swift is 28. Walker is 26. Swift's been in the league 6 years. Walker just 4. Swift ran a 4.48 at the combine. Walker ran a 4.38. You see where I'm going with this? Younger, faster, more explosive, and graded higher by PFF in both rushing and receiving. And here's the wildest part. If the Bears cut or trade Swift, they free up that $7.5 million, and if they sign Walker to a 4-year deal at $8.4 million per year, they're only adding about $1 million to the 2026 cap. $1 million for a major upgrade at the most important backfield position after quarterback. I think Ryan Poles is looking at these numbers. I think Ben Johnson, who came from Detroit and knows what an elite back can do in his system, is thinking the same thing. You think it's a coincidence that Walker is a zone runner who fits perfectly in the scheme Johnson brought over from the Lions? Look, I respect what Swift did for us in 2025, but this is a business, and in this business, you've got to make tough calls. The Packers made the tough call with Aaron Jones and brought in Josh Jacobs. The Vikings moved on from Dalvin Cook. The Lions traded Swift ironically and built a committee backfield that took them to the Super Bowl. And you know why this is great for Chicago? Because we're not talking about replacing Swift with some rookie project or a third-round flyer. We're talking about Kenneth Walker, a guy who just put up 178 yards and 4 touchdowns in the playoff games, a guy who ran for 1,027 yards in the regular season on basically the same number of carries as Swift, but with a PFF rushing grade 3.6 points higher. So I'm asking you, what would you rather have? A 28-year-old back who had a good season but has 6 years of NFL wear and tear, or a 26-year-old in his prime, faster, more explosive, better at breaking tackles, and who costs basically the same against the cap? The answer should be obvious, and if Poles isn't considering this, then he's not doing his job. Because Swift is a good player, but Walker is a great player. And when you can upgrade without wrecking your cap structure, you do it. Period. Now, I know what some of y'all are thinking, but Miguel, Walker missed 6 games in 2024. Yeah, that's true. But he played all 17 games in 2025 and added to playoff games where he was unstoppable. Swift's had his own injury issues over the years. No running back in the NFL is injury-proof. It's the most brutal position in the sport. What matters is this: when Walker's on the field, he's better than Swift. Period. The metrics say it. The tape says it, and anyone who watched the Seahawks this year knows it. Walker is more dynamic, a better receiver out of the backfield, and has the fewer years of wear. And you know what else? If you bring in Walker and pair him with Kyle Monange, the 7th-round rookie who flashed in preseason, you've got your backfield locked down for the next 3 to 4 years. That's long-term planning. That's how you build a dynasty, not patchwork year to year. I'm telling you right now, if Ryan Poles isn't on the phone with Kenneth Walker's agent on day 1 of free agency, he's making a mistake. And if Ben Johnson isn't pushing for this move, then he's not thinking about winning a Super Bowl, he's thinking about staying average. Chicago deserves better than average. Chicago deserves an elite backfield. And Kenneth Walker can give us exactly that. If that blew your mind, wait for this. While the whole league was speculating whether Declan Doyle would take the Eagles' offensive coordinator job, the man made a decision that says everything about where this team is headed. Declan Doyle is staying in Chicago. He pulled his name out of the running for the OC job in Philly and is coming back as our offensive coordinator in 2026, and you know what that means? It means Doyle believes in what we're building here. It means he sees the same potential in Caleb Williams, in this O-line, in this receiver group, that we all see. Look, Doyle isn't just some coordinator. This guy came from Detroit, where he helped build the best defense in the NFL over the last 2 years. He came to Chicago with Ben Johnson, and together they turned a dumpster fire of an offense in 2024 into a unit that put Caleb Williams in position to win Rookie of the Year. You think that's easy? You think just any coordinator can take a rookie QB, put him behind a developing line, and make him look like a 10-year vet? Nitrogen monoxide. That takes a plan, patience, and offensive genius. I'm telling you right now, Doyle staying is just as important as any free agent signing will make this offseason, because continuity on the offensive staff is crucial for a young quarterback's development. Look at what happened to the Bengals when they changed coordinators after Joe Burrow's rookie year. Look at what happened to the Cardinals with Kyler Murray. Development stalls. But when you've got continuity, when your QB enters year 2 in the same system, with the same coordinator, things explode. Look at Josh Allen and Brian Daboll in year 2. Look at Mahomes and Andy Reid. Continuity is the key. And this is even bigger because Doyle didn't just stay, he stayed after getting a shot at being the OC in Philly. The Eagles, people, a Super Bowl team, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. That's a dream job for any coordinator, but Doyle said no. Why? I'm asking you, why would a coordinator turn that down? Because he sees something special in Chicago. Because he believes Caleb Williams can be better than Jalen Hurts. Because he believes this offense, with the right pieces, can be just as good or better than Philly's, and I'm not one to exaggerate. But when a coordinator of Doyle's caliber turns down a promotion to stay with you, that tells you everything you need to know about the direction of this franchise. It tells you the players believe, the staff believes. The whole organization is aligned toward one goal, bringing a championship to Chicago. Now let's talk about what this means for certain players, because Doyle staying isn't just good for Caleb, it's huge for guys like Jahdae Walker, the undrafted receiver who became a fan favorite this season. Remember when Walker caught that 4th down touchdown against the Packers to force overtime? Remember the trust Ben Johnson showed in him in that moment? A lot of that came from Doyle. Doyle was the first to see Walker's potential in training camp. Here's what Doyle said about Walker in preseason. Some guys hit the practice field like it's recess, they can't wait to get going. Jahdae's that guy. He loves football. He's worked every day. He's the kind of guy you want on your team. That's not fluff. That's a coordinator who sees something in a player. And now, with Olamide Zacchaeus and Devin Duvernay likely leaving in free agency, there's a real shot for Walker to have a bigger role in 2026, and with Doyle back, Walker's got the coordinator who already believes in him, who already trusts him, who already put him in position to make the biggest play of his life against Green Bay. And it's not just Walker, it's the whole offense. DJ Moore knows what to expect. Keenan Allen knows how Doyle's gonna use him. Rome Odunze enters year 2 with the same coordinator who drafted him. Cole Kmet doesn't have to learn a new system. The O-line can refine what they're already doing instead of starting from scratch. I've seen too many teams blow up their progress by changing coordinators every 2 years. The Bears did that for decades. New coordinator, new system, confused quarterback, wasted season. Over and over. But now, finally, we've got stability, we've got a plan, we've got continuity. And you know what else? Doyle staying sends a message to the rest of the league. Chicago is a place people want to be. If you're a free agent on offense, don't you want to play for Doyle and Johnson? Don't you want to be part of an offense that's about to explode with a second-year QB who already looks like a star? I think so. I think this makes Chicago more attractive to receivers, to tackles, to running backs in free agency, because everyone wants to play in a winning system with coaches who know what they're doing. And let me tell you something else. Doyle staying also means Johnson doesn't have to worry about replacing his OC. He can focus on fixing the defense, on adding pieces in free agency and the draft. He doesn't have to waste time interviewing candidates, onboarding someone new, teaching them the team's philosophy. That's already done. That's efficiency. That's how you build a winner, not with constant change, but with stability and steady improvement. The Patriots did it for 20 years with Belichick. The Chiefs are doing it now with Reed. The Steelers did it with Tomlin. And now, the Bears have a shot to do it with Johnson and Doyle. Look, I know some of y'all are thinking, but Miguel, what if Doyle leaves after 2026? That's fair. But here's the thing. If Doyle's so successful in 2026 that other teams want him as a head coach, that means we had an amazing season. That means deep playoff run, maybe a Super Bowl, and I'll take that risk every time. Plus, Johnson's already shown he can replace assistants without missing a beat. He did it in Detroit. He's got a coaching tree, a philosophy, a system. If Doyle eventually leaves, Johnson will know exactly who to bring in to keep things rolling. But for now, in 2026, we've got Doyle, and that's a massive win for this organization. It might not make the headlines like a big free agent signing, but it's just as important for our future success. Chicago, this is what we've been waiting for. Stability, continuity, a long-term plan, and Declan Doyle staying is a critical piece of that plan. Now here's where things get really wild. While everyone's been focused on the offense, on Caleb, on the coordinators, there's been a guy on defense having a season nitrogen monoxide one saw coming, and now, that guy's going to the Pro Bowl, Nahshon Wright. The cornerback we signed as a free agent after spending most of 2024 on the Vikings practice squad just got added to the NFC roster for the Pro Bowl games, and this isn't just some ceremonial nod. Folks, Wright led the entire NFL with 8 takeaways in 2025, 3 fumble recoveries, 5 interceptions, one of which he took 74 yards to the house. In Week 1 against Minnesota. Do you realize how insane that is? A guy nobody knew a year ago, who played 1 game for the Vikings in 2024, 15 snaps on special teams, 0 on defense, comes to Chicago and becomes one of the best corners in the league. How does that happen? I'll tell you how. Because Ryan Poles has an EYE for talent. Because Dennis Allen, our defensive coordinator, knows how to put guys in position to succeed. Because Al Harris, our DBS coach, is one of the best in the business at developing corners. But more than anything, it happens because Nahshon Wright is a baller. A guy who loves football, who works every day, and who made the absolute most of his opportunity. Wright's story is the story of the 2025 Bears. It's the story of a team that found players other teams gave up on and turned them into stars. It's the story of a coaching staff that knows how to maximize talent. It's the story of a winning culture being built at Hollis Hall. And you know what's most impressive about Wright's season? It wasn't just a hot month or a couple of big games. The dude was consistent. In November alone, he had 5 takeaways in 5 games. He was named NFC Defensive Player of the Month. The Bears went 5-0 in November, the first time we've won 5 games in a single month since November of 1950-9. Do you understand the kind of history we're talking about? Here, 1959, that's 6 years, and Wright was a key part of that success. Let me paint the picture of what Wright did this year. He picked off Joe Flacco's Hail Mary to seal a 47-40 to win over the Bengals. He recovered a fumble from Jackson Dartforce by C.J. Gardner-Johnson that flipped the momentum in a 24-20 win over the Giants. He made spectacular interceptions against the Vikings and Steelers, and then on Black Friday in Philly, he stripped the ball from Jalen Hurts on a tush push. Ben Johnson called Wright's pick against Pittsburgh one of the most athletic and phenomenal plays I've seen in a long time. Dennis Allen said Wright is extremely ball-aware and always looking for chances to take it away. But here's what nobody is talking about. Wright isn't just a ball hawk. The guy is also rock solid against the run. Johnson even pointed it out. What's flying under the radar is how much Wright is impacting the run game. He's coming downhill, making tackles, blowing up bubble screens. He's playing complete football. Let me ask you this. How many corners in the NFL can do that? How many can be elite in coverage and stout against the run? Not many. And the ones who can are getting $50 million contracts. So here's the $1 million question. What do we do with Wright after 2026? Because he's playing on the final year of his deal, and after a Pro Bowl season, teams are gonna be lining up to pay him. I think Poles needs to extend right now, before the price goes even higher. Because if we wait until after 2026 and Wright has another season like this, we'll be competing with 10 teams offering him $15 million a year. But if we act now, if we offer Wright a 4-year deal worth $45 to $50 million, with 30 guaranteed, we lock down one of the league's best corners for the next 4 years. And with Jalen Johnson already signed long-term, we'd have our cornerback duo locked in through 20-8. Do you realize how valuable that is? Having two elite corners on long-term deals gives you flexibility to build the rest of your defense. You can invest in pass rush, and linebackers, and safeties. You don't have to worry about coverage, it's already handled. Look at what the 49ers did with their corners during their Super Bowl runs. Look at what the Seahawks did with Sherman and Browner during the Legion of Boom. Look at what the Patriots did with Gilmore and McCourty. Elite corners are the foundation of a championship defense. And now, the Bears have to. Johnson, who's already proven he's one of the best in the game, and Wright, who just announced his arrival with a Pro Bowl season, and you know what else? Wright is still getting better. The guy's 27, entering his prime. He's not some 32-year-old vet on the decline. He's ascending, gaining confidence, sharpening his craft. Dennis Allen said when you watch Wright and how he's matured this season, you see him improving every week. And when a player's playing with confidence, he tends to play really well and make plays. That confidence comes from opportunity. Wright said it himself, I've gotten better as I've gotten older in the league. But for me, it's always been about getting opportunities. That's been my story through high school, JUCO, college, and now the NFL. And now that he's got those opportunities, he's dominating. He's showing why POLES signed him. He's showing why Allen trusted him. He's showing why Harris put him with the starters from Otis. Look, I know some of y'all are thinking, but Miguel, what if this was just a fluke season? That's a fair concern. We've seen guys have one big year and disappear. But here's the difference. Wright isn't making lucky plays. He's making technical plays. Those leaping picks against the Vikings and Steelers weren't luck. They were perfect timing. Elite body control, incredible hands. That strip on Hurts in the tush. Push wasn't luck. It was technique, strength, and wanting the ball more than the other guy. I believe Wright is the real deal. I don't think this is a fluke. I think we're witnessing the rise of an elite cornerback who's going to be a cornerstone of this defense for the next 5 to 7 years, and with Johnson on the other side. With Allen calling the shots, with a pass rush that's improving. With safeties like Kevin Byard III, who's also going to the Pro Bowl. By the way, this defense has the potential to be top 5 in the league in 2026, but it all starts with the corners. And now, thanks to Ryan Poles finding Nahshon Wright, we've got a cornerback duo that can go toe-to-toe with anyone in the NFL. Green Bay's got Jaire Alexander, and who else? Minnesota's got Byron Murphy, and who else? Detroit's got... Wait, who do they even have at corner? Exactly, we've got Johnson and Wright. And that's a massive edge in the division. Chicago, this is what we've been waiting for. A defense that can win games. A defense that can take the ball away. A defense that can close out games in the fourth quarter. And Nahshon Wright is a critical piece of that defense. The guy's going to the Pro Bowl. The guy led the NFL in takeaways. The guy is a baller, and I can't wait to see what he does in 2026. So let me ask you something. After everything we just broke down, after looking at these 3 stories that could define the future of the Bears, do you think Ryan Poles is going to make the move for Kenneth Walker? Do you think we'll see Swift in another jersey next year? Because I'm telling you right now, if Poles wants to take this team to the next level, he's got to make tough decisions. And cutting Swift to bring in Walker is one of those moves that separates good G-Miz from great ones. And about Declan Doyle staying, do you realize how massive that is for Caleb Williams, for Jedi Walker, for the whole offense? Because let me ask you, how many times have we seen the Bears ruin a quarterback's development by changing coordinators every 2 years? Too many. But now, finally, we've got continuity. We've got a plan. Do you think that's enough to take Caleb to the next level in year 2? And Nahshon Wright, people, a guy nitrogen monoxide 1 knew a year ago, now going to the Pro Bowl after leading the league in takeaways. Do you think Wright can do it again in 2026? Do you think Poles should extend him now before the price goes up? Because I'm telling you, if we wait, we're going to end up paying double. Look, these 3 stories aren't random. They're part of a bigger plan. They're part of the vision Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson have for this team. And I'm asking you, do you believe in that vision? Do you trust Poles to make the right moves this offseason? Do you trust Johnson to lead this team back to the playoffs in 2026? Because I do believe. I see what they're building at Hollis Hall. I see the culture they're creating. I see the players they're bringing in. And I believe we're one off-season away from being real contenders in the NFC. But I need to know what you think. Drop your comments below. Do we cut Swift and bring in Walker? Is Doyle staying the best news of the offseason? Is Wright for real, or was it just a one-year wonder? I want to hear all your takes. And if you believe, like I do, that the Bears are building something special, that this team is about to take the leap, then you need to subscribe to this channel right now, because I promise you, in the next few weeks, we're gonna have more explosive news. Free agency is right around the corner. The draft is coming in April, and you can't miss what's coming for Chicago. This channel is your home for everything Bears. No filters, no corporate talk, just real analysis from a Chicago fan for Chicago fans. We're a family, and I need all of you to be part of this family. So hit that like button if you think Poles should go get Kenneth Walker. Hit like if you think Doyle staying is crucial for Caleb's development. Hit like if you think Nahshon Wright is going to be an All-Pro in 2026. And subscribe, because this is just getting started. Chicago, we've waited too long. Too many lost seasons, too many letdowns. But now, finally, we've got an organization that knows what it's doing. We've got a GM building the right way. We've got a head coach who's one of the best in the game. We've got a quarterback who could be special. And I'm telling you this, 2026 is going to be your year. I feel it. I see it. And I know you feel it too. So let's stick together, back this team, and bring a championship back to Chicago. Bear down, family. I'll see you in the next video.